You're welcome to the Policy Council. My name is Okwemi Agbaje. Today we look at advertisement, outdoor advertisement, signages, its regulation, the role of lasaa, the Lagos State Signage and Advertisement Agency, and issues around the outlook for the sector and its development. Enjoy the program. You're welcome back. It's still the Policy Council, and I'm talking to a guest who you could call a government official, but whose life story goes beyond government. He's a graduate of political science from the University of Ibadan. He's lived in the United Kingdom for over 25 years, working in British Telecoms, in the Greater London Council. He worked before back home in a company called Community Communications and Publishing Limited, and he's currently the CEO of lasaa, that's the Lagos State Signage and Advertisement Agency. Mr. George Noah, you're welcome to the Policy Council.
Thank you very much.
There's something interesting that I just got to know about you, which I'm sure most of my viewers don't know as well. You were involved in Radio Kudirat, I gathered.
Yes, certainly.
Tell us about that. How was that experience?
It was at a time when, country was in a flux. And I was approached, amongst other people, to help set up this anti-military rule radio station, which we did for about over 3 years.
And that was operating out of where?
Well, we gave the impression that we were operating on the high seas, but in actual fact, we were operating from Norway and also in England, in London. We originally started operations in Norway, in a town called Stavanger, and then we relocated towards the end of military rule to London.
What were you doing in that operation?
I was a on-air presenter.
Okay.
And we had people from different parts of the world that contributed to our programs. And everything we did was mostly by telephone. So if we wanted to do a program, we'll use the telephone to do so. We had programs where we had 2 or 3 people talk, and they were not in the same continent. And we had to do 3-way call, and you would think that we were in the same studio. So, that was how, we operated.
Exciting, but dangerous too.
Well, I never really thought about the dangers, because for me, it was my National Service Part 2, my NYSC, or National Service Part 2. It was what I thought I could do for my country at a very, very difficult time.
Yeah. I remember, it must have been, I know the agents of Abacha were curious about where this Radio Kudirat was, and they were searching feverishly all over the world for where you guys were, probably in England and America. They would never have come to Norway. No.
In fact, when Professor Soyinka asked us to speak with the Norwegians, they asked us to put up a plan. We did, and we went to Norway. At the end of that presentation, they said, you guys must come and situate this radio station in our country. And they didn't want us to do that in Oslo, because Oslo, very cosmopolitan, they wanted us to go to a very small place. And so we went to Stavanger, about 300,000 people. And you would not believe it, there were Nigerians in that place. Seriously. Most of them worked for Statoil.
Okay.
And they really used to wonder what exactly we were doing. So we had to,
invent some decoy.
Exactly. And we said we were doing special projects for the United Nations.
Interesting, great stuff. Well, now you're doing something that is less hazardous, I would imagine. lasaa. lasaa is the Lagos State Signage and Advertisement Agency.
True.
Just very quickly before I go on break, tell us what are your functions in lasaa?
Okay. lasaa is that government agency that regulates and controls signage and outdoor by virtue of the enabling law that sets it up in 2006,
okay.
Which was more of a memorandum of understanding initially between the local council, all local councils in Lagos State. Because you see, when you're doing outdoor or signage, what you would do if you are an outdoor operator is, for instance, in Lagos State, you will have had to deal with 57 local government or local council development areas. It's a nightmare. And for purposes of coordinating and having streamlined policies, you cannot do that if you have to speak with individual local councils. Policies will differ. If you look at it this way,
rates will differ.
Exactly. For instance, in Lagos State, you cannot erect those gigantic structures called Unipo. Now, it will not have been possible if the 57 local councils or local council development areas all had to go their different ways. So there's a good thing, that's come out of this lasaa experience.
Okay, we'll dig deeper into the lasaa model. I'm talking to Mr. George Noah. We're finding out he used to be an activist as well, but today he's the CEO of lasaa. We'll be right back.
Every day, we strive to make Lagos a better place for you and for me. We are restoring and regulating our signage, beautifying our streets, and greening our environment. By assisting with infrastructure, we're lighting up the darkness for all our safety, health, and happiness. Helping Lagos grow into our own international megacity. We are lasaa, improving Lagos, one street at a time.
You're welcome back. It's still the Policy Council. I'm talking to Mr. George Noah. He's the MD CEO of lasaa, Lagos State Signage and Advertisement Agency. And you were just telling us, giving us a small overview of lasaa, the collaboration between the states and the local government. But now tell us more about lasaa, how it has functioned, how it has evolved, what it does, and what value it brings to society.
Yeah. Previous to lasaa, you could virtually erect billboards or do outdoor signage as you liked. Banners, posters, indiscriminately. And so there was an initial period of a clear out. You had billboards almost like 50 meters away. I had opportunity of discussing with my counterpart in Johannesburg, and they said, the way you guys are doing, you're way ahead in terms of outdoor structures per square meter, So there was a period of a clear out where it was a tremendous amount of work. Over 4,000 structures were removed. And then after that period of clear out, there was another period where you had to decide exactly how many structures you put in down. So after the period of clear out, we then went back into the drawing board, and we started giving out approvals for specific things. If you look at Alfred Rewani Road, you will see that the structures there are uniform. Those are the kind of things that's a mini master plan, for instance. And we intend to roll that out in various parts of the state. If you go to Apapa Oshodi, we just did that one, where we had to remove all the structures and then
prescribe
exactly the kind of thing you can do. It's got to be this size, it's got to be from this side of the road, and so on. So we are in a period of consolidation. After we've done all this, we now have to consolidate and look at various aspects of what we do. Because, you see, aside from the regulatory function, there is also the revenue generating function that we do. So, and we have to satisfy all our stakeholders. Our major stakeholder, is the local government and also the state. And so, the revenues which otherwise they would have had to generate is what we're doing. And we believe that we're doing it in a very efficient way that justifies why LASA, was set up. So within the agency itself, we have on the regulatory aspect, we have departments like monitoring and compliance.
Okay.
We have enforcement. And just briefly, enforcement, if you do something you're not supposed to do, they will come and they will remove it.
Yeah.
But in doing so, we've had to train a lot of our staff in the area of customer service delivery. And that is why, as part of our customer service delivery today, we are the only institution in this country, not private, not even no government. We are the only institution in this country where we use Skype as part of our customer service delivery. So if you have issues, you can go register on Skype, LASA customer service. That's our ID. And then we have, business development. Indeed, I had to restructure LASA on product group lines. Okay. And some people would wonder why a government institution will do that. We have to marry the best of the private sector with government. Yeah. That product.
What products do you have?
Well, there are several products. We have, let me give you an example. We have small format.
Okay.
Under small format, you have bus shelters, you have litter bins, you have kiosks, and so on. And each of them would have a product manager whose job it is to look after that product.
To specify the standards.
Exactly.
To get the approvals done.
Exactly.
To enforce.
Exactly.
To liaise with them.
Exactly.
Okay.
So we have the registry department whose job it is to process applications for what we call third party. Third party those who do the billboards.
Okay.
First party refers to signage, where you have a business, you put your signage there. And we believe that anyone who decides to stick a signage in front of their office or wherever, and they want to do business, means the person really means business. And moving away from how we were before and trying to improve on what we do now, we recognize that we have to be in partnership with such. And one of the ways we're doing that, very soon we're going to start organizing seminars, especially for small businesses.
Okay.
And we bring experts to talk to them about new development innovations in their sector.
So you want to become something of a branding consultant?
No, we are as far as we're concerned, we're in partnership with anyone who does signage. Okay. And it's our duty to advise on the type of signage you do, the size, and also the light emissions that may involve. Yeah. So we want to provide a one-stop shop
for solution.
Yeah. And because you see, right now, people tend to view LASA as that agency that comes and just take your money. We want people to view us beyond that.
Let's take a short break.
Okay.
And we'll continue that issue and the criticism that many have of LASA. We'll be right back.
Who knows a bit better thing? Who know like better thing? All these fine things where they see so. Now money government they take do now. It's like, excuse me, I dey pay my tax. I dey do it, I dey pay my tax. Say you don't pay your own tax. If you pay your tax, I pay. Oh.
Pay your tax. It's your civic responsibility. It's your duty. It's the law.
You're welcome back. It's still the Policy Council, and I'm talking to Mr. George Noah. He's the CEO of LASA, Lagos State Signages and Advertisement Agency, and he's a diasporan from the UK and from Europe generally, who's trying to do great things at LASA. So you were talking about trying to reposition lasaa in the minds of your partners, as you call them. And for me, that's important because I know that one of the criticisms of lasaa, and I have clients who have big issues with lasaa, maybe FMCG companies who have quick service restaurants, who have many locations, multiple locations, who think that you've made the cost of signages prohibitive for them. So what do you have to say?
No, I think it's perception, and sometimes perception can be reality. One of the first things I did when I started this job was to do an image audit.
Okay.
And we had the result of that audit. And I, made it available to all our stakeholders because I felt, we have to improve on things we're not doing very well.
Okay.
And so I wanted everybody not to be in any doubt. Our staff, our stakeholders, not just the local council or the state,
local government,
but also the business community.
The business community.
Yes, I wanted them to know what these findings are. And, we accept that, okay, in these areas we haven't done very well. So you have to then start benchmarking us that, look, this is what we want to do and how we want to get there. So it was one of the first things that I did, and once we got the result, I started to look at ways
an action
to improve.
plan.
Exactly. Now, so I mentioned that perception is reality, and it is because of perhaps maybe things that happened previously. I went to his studio, I think just a few days ago,